What's going on, everybody? It's 2025 and I'm super excited to introduce my very first Mixed Media Monday. Each week, Mixed Media Monday will bring something fresh and exciting, whether it's a short, a live stream, or a video just like this, focused on sparking your creativity and building your confidence in mixed media. I have super ambitious plans for 2025, with one of the main goals being to reach 100,000 subscribers. I know it may seem like a lot, but together I know we can achieve it. So be sure to keep on commenting and sharing all of your favorite videos with your friends. All right, with all of that out of the way, let's get into the first Mixed Media Monday. Today, I'm going to be working with my watercolor pencil palette and a brayer. This idea was inspired by Lemon Creations here on YouTube, and I'll link her video in the description box below. She used watercolors and a brayer to create something really fun, so I thought I'd give it a try with my own twist. I'm going to be using blues and purples. I think she used purples and pinks if I'm not mistaken, so let's see how it turns out. I'm starting with Distress Watercolor Paper, and I'm using the back side, the smooth side, because I'm not really sure what I want to do with it at this point. I didn't know if I was going to stamp on it, and if you know anything about watercolor paper, it's really hard to stamp on the textured side. So I'm using the back side of watercolor paper. I am using a number 12 round brush and picking out some colors. I am going with Seedless Preserves for that rich purple tone, and I'm combining some blues, Uncharted Mariner, and Chip Sapphire. I love these colors together. They remind me of a stormy sky or a deep ocean. I'm picking up some other blues. I can't really remember all of the exact names off the top of my head, but that's kind of part of the fun, is experimenting and seeing what works. Now I'm adding the colors to this nonstick mat. This is from Ranger, specifically Tim Holtz, and I will have it linked down in the description box below. This is perfect for getting all of that pooling that I really want, so that it grabs onto the brayer really well, if that makes sense. You'll see what I'm talking about. And I'm trying to make the colors as saturated as I can. So I'm kind of dipping my paintbrush in the water, but then I'm also drying it off a little bit before I dip it into my panel here. I know it's a little bit hard to see, but that's what I'm doing to make sure that I get a really saturated color, because I don't want this watered down at all. I am going to be adding a little bit of picked raspberry just to add a little bit more variation in color onto the mat. And once I do that, I'm going to use the brayer to spread the colors around. I'm not going to be pushing the brayer very hard onto the mat. I'm very lightly trying to roll the brayer onto the colors. You're going to see this is going to create some really interesting textures. And the first attempt that I had done didn't go quite as planned, so this is actually the second attempt. The colors didn't spread as evenly as I would have hoped, and it just felt a little too watery. So again, this is my second attempt. And again, I'm not pushing down hard onto my watercolor paper either. Now you could see that this is just a little bit different from spraying or even doing watercolor, with a paintbrush, just something different and fun. Now this second time around started to come together, and I love how the brayer creates these unexpected blends and textures, and some of it is a little more blotchy than others, kind of almost like scraped on watercolor, if you will. After I'm done brayering on the colors, I'm going to add some contrast by splattering on some more purples and blues. This is really going to kind of balance out the strokes of the watercolors, and it's going to start feeling more cohesive in my opinion. And you all know that I love me some splatters, and no project is complete without some sort of splatters. Now I'm definitely loving the messy, grungy feel to this card, but it really needed something else. And of course I'm going to come in with some stamping. And you all know I love this script stamp, and I actually got called out recently saying that if they had $1 for every time that I use this stamp, they would be rich. And that's probably true, because I love it and I just use the things that I love. And it just goes to show you that you don't really need every single script stamp out there, or butterfly stamp, or whatever obsession you may have. My obsession is scripts stamps, and I love it. And this is my go-to, and I use it all the time. Now I'm going in with some older All and Create stamps that I have in my stash. These are just to kind of give a little bit more texture. I haven't used these in quite some time, and my goal for 2025 is to shop less not going to say no shopping, but shop less and use what I have. And if I don't use it, I'm going to get rid of it. I am a firm believer in using your stash. I say this all of the time. Use what you have in your stash, especially when it comes to my classes, because I don't want people, buying needlessly. I think that we all could be using our stash more. So anyways, I'm going off on a rant here. So I am using archival ink, and this is good because I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to be doing after this. I don't know if I'm going to be adding more color, sprays, watercoloring. I'm not 100% sure. So I just kind of play it safe and use my archival ink, because whatever I do on top of that, it's going to be safe from smudging. Now I'm going to be bringing in my grip mat. This is from Altenew. I love this thing. It was kind of one of those trendy items at the time. I didn't get the full spinner thing because I didn't need it. I love my Misty, but I did just get the grip mat. And again, I use this all the time. So if you are wondering about one, if you're on the fence, I highly recommend one, because as you could see, I'm putting my card panel down, and then I'm going to be using a stencil with some paste, and this is going to help keep that stencil and card panel in place so it doesn't kind of move around or anything. It's a little extra step, but in my opinion, it's well worth it. Now this stencil is from Prima, and it's specifically from Finnabair. I love her stuff. I used to be a designer for her back in the day, but you really can't get this stencil anywhere. If I can find it, I'll link it. I believe people had found it on Amazon, so I'll definitely link it below. But I'm using some Ranger opaque texture paste and just spreading it through the stencil. And then what I'm doing now is I'm taking my palette knife. This is a Tonic Studio silicone palette knife, and I love this thing. It cleans off so easy, and I've had it for a very long time. And I'm kind of blending out the paste into the paper. I do this all the time because I really don't like those harsh lines, so it just kind of helps everything blend together really well. Now, once everything is completely dry, I'm going to add even more splatters, and I'm going to be using my Dina Wakley Gloss Spray in white. You all know I love this stuff. I swear by it. I have several bottles because I have a feeling that they might discontinue it one day, and I would be very, very sad because this is my go-to for white splatters. A bottle probably lasts me a good year, if not 2 years. So I think I'm good to go because I have several in my stash. Now I'm keeping with the theme of using what I have in my stash. I have bought way too many acetate butterflies. I'm actually kind of embarrassed of how many I have, to be honest. I'm going to be adding the larger one in the center, and then I'm going to add a bit smaller one on top, and then the medium-sized one on the bottom. I'm going to be using double-sided adhesive to adhere the butterflies to my card panel. Now, usually I would add some white splatters again, just to kind of give the acetate butterflies or whatever focal point I have a little more cohesiveness with the white splatters, but I tend to go overboard. So what I'm doing here is I'm using my Posca pen, in white, and I'm just adding white little dots onto the butterflies, and this is going to help bring all of the white splatters in onto the butterflies without going overboard with using the Dina Wakley Gloss Spray. Now I'm going to rough up the edges of my card panel and then add it to my card base, and then I'm going to take a sticker sentiment from these Tim Holtz Occasions sticker pack. I absolutely love these things, and I get asked all the time, what are they? Where do I find them? And I think the one that I use specifically, I found at Hobby Lobby. I cannot find it online anywhere, so I really don't know 100% for sure if they still make it anymore, but I am going to be popping it up with some foam adhesive, and these strips work perfectly with these little sticker sentiments, and I'm going to add that right in the center of that larger butterfly. And there you have it. There is the mixed media card. I hope that going over the full process, start to finish, breaking down each step, helped you get a little bit more confidence so that you can try it yourself. And if you create something inspired by this video or any of my other projects, I would love to see it, so be sure to tag me on social media. And as always, be sure to stay creative, my friends.